Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is Suspects and Spirits. Nope, that's the wrong show. This is Booze Clues. Oh, let's try that again. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Booze Clues. You write them, I read them, and that's pretty much it. Oh, how's everyone doing today? I am clearly tired. I'm obviously tired. And it's a late night recording for me, so bear with me. It's been a very busy month, as I mentioned in the past episode. This same week that you listened to me on a Wednesday, I talked about how busy this month has been. And it is not getting any less busy. Crazy enough, within 2 days, it's gotten busier. I mean, how has it already been a month since I recorded one of these? I don't even know. I'm gonna need time to just like relax, like calm the fuck down. Stop going so fast. But I gotta get it done. Gotta do it. Gotta do it for the listeners. It's due on Friday. So I will have this up for you on Black Friday, my friends. And you know what's so crazy is I say it's due like I work for someone. I'm an independent podcast. I literally work for myself. I have no due date. I don't have a network. I have no one breathing down my neck being like, you have to get this done. But I have what people like to call um, OCD. So I I put these like pretend deadlines on myself and I'm like, I have to get it done. I could realistically be like, hey, I'm really busy right now. I should just, put this on hold. And a healthy person a healthy-minded person might do that. Me? I like to think I'm healthy-minded, but then I do this kind of shit. So, welcome to the chaos that is me. I will always get things done. I need like procrastination sometimes to get things done, and I think that's just part of my ADHD. I actually read an article recently by someone at Harvard. I don't remember who, but they said that people with ADHD do better under pressure, which is why we tend to procrastinate on things. And I wouldn't say no, actually, that's a lie. I procrastinate. I do. There are certain times where I get a lot of things done ahead of time and I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling really good. But then that ADHD paralysis happens and I'm like, too much to get done. And now I must sit and stare at TikTok videos until I have to get it done. So that's what that's like. It sucks, but I actually can't even control it. I've tried to. I've tried to control it, but ADHD paralysis is such a real thing. And that's why when I have kids in my class who are like just sitting there doing nothing, it irritates me. I'm like, you could be doing your work right now. But then I think about myself and I'm like, wow, what a hypocrite. Give them some grace because yes, they could be doing their work right now. They probably just physically can't. Like they mentally, emotionally cannot right now. So who knows what's going on in those little brains. But I would like time to just slow the fuck down. It's not a race. I don't know what the month of November is trying to do. There's no one is racing against it. Anyways, here we are, 2 days before Thanksgiving. I am recording this lovely episode for you because these stories that I have not read yet because I've been busy are probably super awesome because you guys always knock it out of the park. I can't wait to read these for you guys, and I hope that you all enjoy them. All right, we are going to just jump on in now. We're going to get started. Otherwise, I'm going to keep talking forever because it's late at night and I'm a little loopy. So, we just need to get started. Taylor has to lock in now. Okay, ready, set, go. This first story's subject line is the annual Grudge Fest at Aunt Patty's house. Ooh, I don't know why I laughed like that just now, but I love it already. Who doesn't love a good petty family? Here we go. Hi, Taylor. I hope you read this on the podcast. It is honestly my best work. And while I wish I could say I made it up, I did not. This is truly the pathetic story of my petty ass family. Every year, our family does Thanksgiving at my Aunt Patty's house, partly because she has the biggest kitchen, and partly because she's the only one bold enough to host when we all refuse to speak to half the extended family for completely idiotic reasons. And I do mean petty, not emotional wounds, not childhood trauma. I mean Olympic level commitment to truly stupid grievances. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, this particular, and then they put in parentheses 2024. So, anyway, in this particular year, 2024, everyone collectively agreed that the only way to survive was to start drinking before we pulled into the driveway. My siblings and I sat in the car pounding mini fireball bottles like we were preparing for battle. Even grandma took a shot, and she's 89. Dinner started out, quote unquote, fine, meaning only 3 people were whisper fighting. But once dessert rolled around, things had escalated. Oh, it's getting juicy. I can't wait. This is juicier than my Thanksgiving ham. I don't know why I just said that. Okay, maybe I'll take that out. Before I tell you how this particular Thanksgiving went, you need to understand the historical landscape. Here are just a few of the active grievances currently in rotation. Oh, and she numbered them. Oh my gosh, she has them numbered in bullet points. Okay, guys, here we go. Number 1, cousins Cliff and Marcy, the Costco sample war, 2017 to present. Love that you included dates. The official story is that Marcy used Cliff's Costco membership card without asking. The real reason they haven't spoken in 8 years? She got a free sample of smoked Gouda before he did. And as Cliff always says, quote, it's not about the cheese, it's about the betrayal, end quote. He says this every year while hoarding all the Hawaiian rolls, so take that as you will. Number 2, my mom versus Aunt Linda. The cranberry jello debate. 1982 through eternity is the timestamp on this one. Both claim they invented our family's famous cranberry jello mold, even though Grandma invented it in 1964. They know Grandma invented it. They know they're lying, but they're too deep in the lie to turn back now. If either of them ever admitted the truth, I'm almost positive their soul would escape their body like static electricity. Number 3. Gosh, there's more. Number 3, Cousin Riley versus Aunt Patty, the pie sabotage accusation, 2013 to present. In 2013, Riley claimed Patty ruined her apple pie by opening the oven door too early. Patty denies it to this day. Riley still refuses to eat anything Patty bakes. Oh my gosh, anything? She goes on to say, this includes dinner rolls, brownies, birthday cake. She once even refused a piece of Aunt Patty's wedding anniversary cake out of protest. That's dedication. Honestly, props. That's some willpower right there. Number 4. Yes, there's more. Uncle Dale versus my sister. The karaoke scandal. Oh my God, karaoke. This one says 2020 through ongoing. My sister once beat Uncle Dale at Thanksgiving karaoke by singing Total Eclipse of the Heart with so much passion, she nearly dislocated a rib. He claims the machine was rigged. It was not, because that's not how they work. These are just the highlights. There are subgrudges, quiet resentments, and entire branches of silent treatment feuds. In my family tree, the roots grow in salt water. Arriving at Patty's house, the tension was very high. When we pulled up to Aunt Patty's, my stomach dropped the same way it does when you crest the top of a roller coaster. You know the fall is coming and you know you chose this, but you still regret everything. The second we opened the door, we were hit with the smell of turkey, onions, sage, and long simmering hostility. Happy Thanksgiving, Patty shouted from the kitchen. Then, in a much quieter voice, she added, everyone behave yourselves for the love of God. We hung up our jackets and immediately assessed the seating environment. There were 2 zones: the kitchen, for those emotionally stable enough to tolerate Patty's control issues, and the living room, where the grudges lived. We chose the living room. We like to be where the plot is. Grandma settled into her seat like she was a referee preparing for a boxing match. She pulled up her cardigan tight, not zipped up, sorry, sipped her coffee, which definitely had vodka in it, and whispered, let them try me today. Dinner always starts peacefully, the way a hurricane starts with a gentle breeze. For the first 20 minutes, everything seemed normal. Everyone complimented Patty's decor, the turkey, the table runner she made herself, the wine. It was quiet. Too quiet. Even the grudges seemed to be sipping their wine and taking the day off. But peace is fragile, and in our family, it shatters easily. And that happened when Riley innocently said, These rolls taste so good. Who made them? Patty's head snapped around like someone had called her a slur. I did, she said, tightly, very tightly. Riley froze. The table froze. The olives froze. Because Riley, as I mentioned above, does not eat things Patty bakes. She backtracked so fast she nearly broke her brain. Oh, wait, no, I meant who bought them. Who bought these? They're very store like. Patty inhaled sharply. My sister elbowed me under the table, and Grandma muttered, Here we go. Once one person gets defensive in my family, it spreads like seasonal depression. Mom and Aunt Linda started arguing about whose cranberry jello recipe was quote unquote traditional. They both waved their serving spoons like magical wands trying to prove ownership. Uncle Dale insisted on going first for the after dinner karaoke, even though we hadn't finished eating and no one had agreed to karaoke. Marcy glared at Cliff because he was cutting himself an extra large slice of ham. He winked at her as he did it, and Cliff whispered, Samples are free, Marce. Marcy whispered, Choke on it. The audacity, the pettiness, chef's kiss. The moment everything truly imploded was when Patty asked everyone to share what they're thankful for. A simple tradition in some homes, a sweet tradition even, a tradition destined to fail in this household. My mom said, I'm thankful for family. Aunt Linda said, Same. But she said it in the tone of someone saying, I'm thankful you stole my recipe, you fraud. Then it was Cousin Riley's turn. And she said, boldly, bravely, and with her whole chest, quote, I'm thankful for truth because truth always wins, even if some people open ovens before pies are ready. Patty slammed her wineglass on the table. The turkey trembled, the gravy quivered, and she said, quote, That oven door was never opened. It was, Riley yelled back. Never was. They were arguing like toddlers. Meanwhile, Cliff whispered to me, $10 as someone cries in 5 minutes. I whispered, 2 minutes. Grandma whispered, Why didn't we do Thanksgiving at Olive Garden this year? By the end of the night, half of the family was crying, 2 people were hugging in the bathroom because, quote, life is too short, and my siblings and I were playing a secret game of take a drink every time someone says I'm over it while clearly not being over it. We deserve Oscars, my sister said to me that night, and she meant just for showing up, clearly. And then my brother chimed in with, We deserve hazard pay. Yeah, I would agree with your brother. Oh man, we finally said goodbye, and the air was thick with leftover tension and the kind of forced forgiveness that only lasts until next Tuesday. As Grandma put on her coat, she leaned toward me and whispered, Same time next year. Here's the thing she wasn't joking, not even a little bit. So, there you go. No crimes, really, unless you consider pettiness to be a crime, and in that case, my family is the grudge mafia. Oh, man. Lauren from Texas. Lauren, your family Thanksgiving sounds unhinged in all of the best ways. Oh, okay. That was funny. All right. Our next story. Let's see here. Can I read your name? Let me scroll. Boop, boop, doo. Yes. Okay. Okay. I can read it. And I will at the end. Okay. Next story. This subject line is The Helpful Ghost, a Thanksgiving Tale. Hey there, Ghoulie. I love you and I love the podcast. It's quickly become my go to every Wednesday. I am also a teacher. Oh, hey. Hey, teacher bestie. How are you? And she says, but I have no idea how you find the time for this podcast. Do you have a time turner? And if so, can I borrow it? Oh, we got a Harry Potter fan too here, I see. Can we be best friends? Did we just become best friends? We're best friends now. She says, You amaze me. Oh, okay. Now I need to tell you my story. Oh, what, we're done with the compliments? All right, then. Just kidding. She says, We have a helpful ghost in our family, and one Thanksgiving, she decided to piss off my grandma. Oh, don't piss off grandma. Not on Thanksgiving. Okay. Why do I keep talking like that? Why do you guys listen to me? That's embarrassing. My grandmother is one of those women who loves Thanksgiving more than her own birthday. She runs the kitchen like Gordon Ramsay with a prayer journal. Every spoon has a place, every dish gets stirred at a precise angle. Do not get in her way. And that is not an exaggeration. This woman has opinions about how you should open the fridge. Too fast, you're letting all the cold out. Too slow, you're just standing there wasting electricity. Once, my cousin tried to help by preheating the oven for her. He set it to 400 degrees. She came in, saw the number, and said, I said 375, not hellfire. Turn it down. Thanksgiving is her Super Bowl. The rest of us are just unpaid interns. So naturally, our house ghost, who we've called Mittens for years because the first time we saw her, it looked like she was wearing fuzzy mittens. Okay, valid. The ghost decided that Thanksgiving was the day she wanted to quote unquote help. Oh no. this does not sound good. I need you to understand. We did not invite this assistance. No one lit a candle and said, "Spirits of the beyond, please come rearrange the silverware." This ghost just woke up one November and thought, "You know what? This already tightly wound micromanaging old woman, you know what she needs? Interdimensional interference." Except her helping consisted of just moving things constantly. Oh, that would irritate the shit out of me. Honestly, I don't really blame your grandma that much. That would be so irritating. So she goes on to say, how did we get a ghost named Mittens? Let me tell you. Mittens didn't just appear out of nowhere on Thanksgiving. She'd been around for a few years before that, kind of like a weird roommate none of us technically agreed to live with. The first time we met her, my little sister was about 8. It was midwinter, cold enough that Grandma actually turned the thermostat above 62, which is rare. Sis woke up in the middle of the night and saw a girl standing at the foot of her bed, pale, a little see through, wearing an old fashioned dress and brightly colored fuzzy mittens. All right. Oh, maybe like you mean mittens like gloves, like winter gloves. Maybe she was cold. Ghosts, I'm sure they can get cold too. She goes on to say, not dainty Victorian glove. Oh, sorry, I haven't read these. Not dainty Victorian gloves, not lace, just goofy looking mittens, like something from the clearance bin at Target. They were patterned too, little snowflakes, bright blue. Totally wrong for the rest of her outfit. I mean, maybe she's trying out a new look. You don't know. Don't judge her. My sister screamed, of course, and Grandma came running in with a flashlight and a slipper in her hand like she was ready to beat the intruder to death with a fuzzy pink slipper. By the time she reached the bed, the girl was gone. My sister was sobbing. She said there was a girl with mittens. She was just standing there. And my grandma, being the practical woman she is, said, ghosts don't wear mittens. Go back to sleep. She's like, I don't have time for this. Go to bed. You'd think that would be the end of it, but over the next few months, other people saw her too. A flicker of a girl in the hallway mirror, a shadow by the stairs, a reflection in the glass of the back door. Sometimes you'd just feel someone walk past you and hear a faint swish, like wool brushing against itself. A couple of times, when the house was cold, someone would say, "Where are my gloves?" and then find them neatly folded by the front door, even if they were sure they left them in another room. So, yeah, eventually we gave up denying it and just started calling her Mittens. If we had to have a ghost, at least she had a theme. For the most part, she wasn't scary. We'd see her in our peripheral vision or feel the couch cushion dip when no one sat down. Once, my uncle felt a hand brush his shoulder and heard giggling, only to turn and see no one was there. He refuses to admit that story in front of other people, but he told me when he was 2 drinks in and emotional about his fantasy football team. Oh, listen, okay, fantasy football can get emotional. Speaking as a sports girly, and I've been on fantasy teams, it can destroy you. All right, so I understand your uncle. Mittens was shy, curious, playful, but not harmful in any way. Until Thanksgiving. Here's what you need to know about my grandmother on Thanksgiving. She wakes up at 5 a.m. She has handwritten schedule taped to the fridge labeled turkey timeline. Oh. She does not sit down until at least 3 people are already passed out on the couch from overeating. Oh, grandma, I feel like you need to just like sit, just sit. Like grandma, chill out, Go relax. But maybe she's just one of those grandmas who's like, I want to do it myself. I need to stay busy. My grandma was kind of like that. She liked staying busy. Every year, she insists she doesn't. Oh, see, this is Taylor. This is why you read the stories. This is why you read them, because then you say shit that you shouldn't say. She goes on to say, every year, she insists she doesn't need help. Then, when someone offers to help, she acts like they're an idiot, but secretly appreciates it. But this is all controlled help. She tells you how many times to stir the gravy, what direction to mash the potatoes, how to, sorry, what direction? Does it matter? How flat to lay the foil. So when things started moving around the kitchen for no reason, it was not just mildly annoying, it was DEF CON 1. Grandma would set down her measuring cup, turn around, and it would be in the pantry. The salt on the windowsill. The pie crust was on top of the fridge. A single stick of butter was just sitting in the hallway like it was trying to escape. At first, she blamed us. Who keeps moving my things? She demanded. We all shrugged. We were too busy trying to not burn the crescent rolls to play pranks. The weird part wasn't so much that things moved, it was where they ended up. The sugar wasn't randomly on the floor, it was sitting on a folded dish towel on the table, like someone had set it down politely. The timer was balanced neatly on the back of the chair, the turkey baster turned up next to the oven with its tip pointed toward the bird, as if to say, hey, remember basting? The more stressed Grandma got, the more active Mittens seemed to become. She'd put a spoon down next to the stove, then turn to grab the pot and turn back, and the spoon would now be 6 inches to the left. Just enough to throw her off. Just enough to make her mutter, I'm losing my mind. I watched it happen a few times. She'd place something on the counter, step away, and then, I kid you not, I'd see it scoot just a little, like an invisible hand nudged it to a better spot. I said, Grandma, I think maybe it's, and she interrupted, don't you dare say ghost right now. I do not have time for the undead today. Around noon, things escalated. The turkey was in the oven, the sides were in varying stages of completion, and Grandma was in her zone. Apron on, hairpin back, glasses sliding down her nose, muttering about timing and oven temperature like a general moving troops into formation. She was making gravy, which, in her opinion, is the single most important element of the meal. She says, you can ruin a turkey, but if your gravy is good, they'll forgive you. It's kind of a good point. Turkey can get a little dry, put some gravy on it. If it's good gravy, it can save the turkey, I guess. She went to grab her favorite whisk, the one with a red handle. It's her lucky whisk. No one else is allowed to use it. It wasn't in the utensil crock. It wasn't in the drawer. It wasn't in the sink. And she started to panic. Where is my whisk? She yelled. Who took my whisk? We all did that guilty teen movie thing of shouting back, not me, from different rooms. She checked the counter. Nothing. She checked the table. Nothing. She stormed over to the pantry, mumbling, if one of you kids thought this would be funny. And then she froze. Because standing just inside the pantry doorway was a faint, translucent girl with a faded dress and those unmistakable mittens. Mittens was holding a whisk. Or rather, the whisk looked like it was just floating in midair. Grandma screamed so loud the neighbors thought we burned the turkey. I was in the living room, but I heard it, the kind of scream that makes your soul want to relocate. We all came running in, sliding on the tile in our socks like a panicked Scooby-Doo gang. By the time we reached the pantry, the ghost was gone. The whisk was sitting on the shelf. Grandma was white as the mashed potatoes, and she pointed at the pantry. She was right there. Who? My uncle asked, even though we all knew. He just wanted to hear her admit it. The girl, the one with the mittens, Grandma said. She had my whisk. Are you sure? I asked. You brat. She turned the death glare on me. I'm old, not stupid. I know what I saw. Then she did something I didn't expect. She took a deep breath, grabbed the whisk, and went right back to making gravy. This'll have to wait till after dinner, she said. The dead can bother me later. Iconic behavior, honestly. We tried to ease her into the idea that the ghost wasn't trying to torment her. We all sat down for a minute while something baked and the timers weren't going off like alarm bells in a fire drill. My mom said, she's probably just curious. Maybe she used to cook too. I added, yeah, maybe she's trying to help. Like, here, you'll need this. Grandma glared at the ceiling and yelled, "If you want to help, stop touching my damn kitchen." Then, from somewhere near the stove, a pot lid fell off the counter with a metallic clatter. We all jumped. Grandma narrowed her eyes. To this day, we think that was an apology. The rest of the day was like being in a very specific kind of horror comedy. Not enough to flee the house, but enough to keep you perpetually tense. Every time someone set something down, we would watch to see if it moved. Sometimes nothing happened. Sometimes a spoon would roll an inch. Sometimes a dish towel that had been left crumpled would mysteriously be folded when we were turned back around. At one point, Grandma lost the nutmeg. She swore she had set it down next to the stove. We all looked, and it was nowhere to be found. How do you lose nutmeg? Then, 10 minutes later, my brother opened the spice cabinet, and there it was, front and center, like an apology gift. We spotted Mittens a couple more times that day, always at the edge of our vision, a flicker of a dress, the vague outline of a little body passing in front of the doorway, the faint bounce of what really did look like bulky mittens swinging at her sides. And once I saw her standing by the window, watching Grandma stir something. She looked happy, or at least peaceful and content, like watching someone make a holiday meal was soothing to her. I don't know what her story is or was. Maybe she grew up in that house. Maybe she loved Thanksgiving. Maybe she never got to grow up enough to host a big chaotic dinner, and this was her way of participating. Maybe moving things was her way of saying, "Hey, I'm here too." Unfortunately, she chose the one personality on earth least equipped to handle unseen hands helping. Later that night, as we were putting away leftovers, I saw a little misty outline in the corner near the fridge. There was Mittens. She didn't move anything this time. She just watched. Mittens at her side, like she was keeping us company. I opened the fridge to put in the cranberry sauce. The spot where it needed to go was crowded. I considered rearranging everything, then decided I was too tired and I shoved it on top. When I shut the fridge and turned back around, the Tupperware was on the counter. The space where it had been was now previously cleared, just the right size for the cranberry container. I laughed under my breath and said, "Okay, that's actually helpful." I moved the cranberry sauce into the spot she'd cleared, put the lid back on the Tupperware, and whispered, "Thanks, Mittens." For a split second, the air felt warmer around my hand, like someone tiny had squeezed my fingers in gratitude. Oh, oh, that's so sweet. The next morning, I asked Grandma if she thought Mittens would be back for Christmas. Grandma said, "Probably. Spirits like routine. She just needs to learn when to assist and when to stay the hell out of the way, just like the rest of you." Your grandma is spicy. I like her. And that was that. No exorcism, no dramatic cleansing, just boundaries, living and dead. To this day, whenever something in the kitchen gets mysteriously relocated, the whisk, the measuring cups, the oven mitts, we don't get mad. We just say, "Okay, Mittens, we see you." But every Thanksgiving, right before she starts cooking, Grandma looks up toward the ceiling and says, "If you want to help, set the table. If you move my whisk, though, we're going to have a problem." A pot lid has never fallen again. And that is the story of our helpful family ghost who just so happens to love Thanksgiving. Stay spooky and get yourself a helpful ghost. Mia from California. Oh, thank you, Mia. I really like that story. See, not all ghosts are scary, and some of them really just want to like hang out with the living and feel a sense of normalcy. They want to feel like they're just, part of the family. And I love that you guys just thank Mittens and the part where she squeezed your hand, that's so sweet. That actually like warmed my heart. That's really, really sweet. Okay, guys, the next story subject line is my weird ass nephew. Okay. Okay. No idea what to expect here. Hi, Taylor. Here you will find a story I've written for you to share on Booze Clues. Please share it so I can tell my family and look cool. You got it. I got you. I love your pod and have recommended it to all my friends who love true crime and the paranormal. Every family has that one kid who says weird things that make the adults go stiff and quiet. For us, it's my nephew, Jackson. He is 5. He has curly hair, cute as a button with dinosaur obsession, and very specific preference for his mac and cheese. Not the squiggly noodles, only the elbow ones. And he is also apparently a retired war veteran. Huh, okay. And of course, he chose Thanksgiving as his stage. Oh, shit. Is this one of those like past life stories? Does your nephew have a past life? Oh, okay. Here we go. This all happened about 4 years ago, and he has absolutely no memory of it now. My sister, Jackson's mom, was in the kitchen with our mom negotiating oven space like they were United Nations ambassadors. We'd set the kids' table in the corner of the dining room, plastic cups, colorful plates with cartoon turkeys, those little paper pilgrim hats that never stay on anyone's head, and Jackson was there with his younger cousin, poking at a pile of baby carrots like they were under investigation. Yes, me too, Jackson. The adults' table was right next to theirs, so we could keep an eye on them and also intercept any spills or sudden emotionally charged mashed potato launches. Everything felt normal, loud, but normal, for about 10 more minutes. The turkey had just been carved and passed around. Everyone was settling in, saying things like, "Oh, this looks so good," and "I shouldn't, but I will," and "Is there more gravy?" for the third time. My mom put a little bit of everything on Jackson's plate: turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, a roll, and a spoonful of green beans he'd definitely ignore. He stared at it for a second, really studied it, then picked up a piece of turkey, sniffed it like a food critic, and said, completely casually, "This looks way better than the rations they gave us in France." What? The fork slipped out of my hand and clanged on my plate. My sister slowly lifted her head like a horror movie character realizing they're not alone in the house. My grandpa stopped mid chew, his jaw off to the side and his brows furrowed with both confusion and interest. "Jackson," my sister said very gently. What did you just say?" He shrugged, completely unbothered. "The rations were gross," he said. "They were all wet and came in tins. We ate them in the trenches. But this turkey is nice. It doesn't smell like mud." The football game in the background kept going. The dog's collar jingled. A pan clattered in the kitchen. But at the table, silence. Heavy, stunned silence. My grandpa's eyes went wide first. Not scared exactly, but focused. He's a Vietnam vet, so war isn't just this abstract concept to him. He stared at Jackson and said, "What trenches, buddy?" "In the war," Jackson replied. "The big one, with the loud booms and the mud." "Which war?" my aunt asked. She said it like she was bracing for the punchline. "The big one," he repeated, like it should be obvious. "The one before this life." "Excuse me? What do you mean, this life, Jackson?" No one moved. Nobody breathed. I'm pretty sure even the dog paused mid lick, tongue out, like, "Excuse me?" My sister cleared her throat and tried to pivot. "Hey, Jax, did you see any cool planes in this war?" He looked at her with genuine 5-year-old irritation. "We didn't see planes. We heard them. Mostly, we just saw mud and smoke and the rats." He made a face. "I don't like rats." My sister grabbed her wine glass and took a long sip. I reached over and topped it off. We tried to brush it off. We figured kids will say weird things. They repeat lines from movies and YouTube videos. Maybe he heard something about World War II or a cartoon somewhere had something about the war. Maybe he'd seen a TikTok my sister didn't realize auto played. We were all throwing rational explanations into our heads like life preservers. But then Jackson kept talking. He picked up a roll, tore off a piece, and said thoughtfully, "It's nice we can eat inside. It's warmer. I hope this house doesn't get shelled like the last one." I snickered and accidentally knocked my drink over. My sister just sat there bewildered because she had never heard Jackson talk like this. He was not the kind of kid who played Army. He had zero interest in it. He honestly was more of a Paw Patrol kind of kid and did not have the vocabulary at the time to express these types of thoughts in sentences. He's not an old soul type. He's a weird kid, but not before this. "Shelled?" my mom asked carefully. "Yeah," he said, like it was common knowledge. "When the loud booms come and the walls fall down, it's very loud. We had to run. Some people couldn't." He said it so matter of factly, like he was telling us about recess. He took a big bite of turkey, chewed it thoughtfully, and added, "I like this life better. There's dessert." None of us really knew what to say. My brother was cackling behind his napkin, and my aunt kicked him under the table to stop. My brother laughs when he's uncomfortable, and this was hilarious to him. Yeah, this is hilarious to me too, because what do you mean, little dude? Like, You were you're in the war?" And while we wanted to hear more, we all felt sort of weird about it and could tell Jackson's little joyful personality was dimming. Oh. So we knew at some point we had to start steering the conversation away from reincarnation trauma and back to normal kid territory. My mom tried, bless her. "So, Jackson," she said in her best elementary school teacher voice, "what are you thankful for this year?" He thought for a second, swinging his legs under his chair. "I'm thankful I don't have to sleep on the ground anymore," he finally said, "and that we don't have to hide when we hear loud noises, and that we have a roof." He paused, looking at the ceiling. "I hope the roof stays. It's nice here." Then he looked straight at me and said, "Do we have any spare helmets, just in case?" I laughed nervously. "You mean like a bike helmet?" He frowned. "No, a real one. The metal kind. It doesn't stop everything, but it's better than nothing." My grandpa had to excuse himself from the table. After dinner, when the kids all ran off to play and Jackson got distracted by a Lego set one of the cousins brought, the adults had an emergency debrief in the kitchen. The dishwasher hummed in the background while we all stood in a half circle like we were planning an intervention. My mom whispered, "Has he said anything like that before? I've never heard him talk like that." My sister, completely shocked, said, "No, I don't know where the hell that came from." After everyone went home and all the leftovers were stacked in the fridge like edible Tetris, I tried, I did what any normal, slightly unsettled millennial would do. I opened my laptop and started Googling. I typed in stuff like World War trenches, boots stuck in mud stories, shelling houses, civilians, France, First World War, soldiers singing to block out explosions, rations in the World War I taste like ... I'm not going to pretend I found proof that my nephew is the reincarnation of some random 19-year-old who never made it home, but a lot of what he said matched up with historical accounts. The mud, the rats, the metal helmets. I didn't include everything he said, but there was talk about singing in the trenches too, which was just weird. Why would a kid know that? He even talked about the way the food was packed in little tin cans. I read this one paragraph from a soldier's letter that talked about boots getting sucked off by mud at the bottom of the trenches, and it made my stomach drop. Jackson had described almost this exact same thing at the dinner table. I sat there, staring at the glowing screen, thinking either my nephew is weirdly good at improvising war stories and he's been playing dumb for 5 years, or there's something else going on. The next day, he was back to watching Paw Patrol, and he doesn't remember any of this conversation. Well, I hope you enjoy the holidays, and if you have a weird 5-year-old nephew who happens to also be a war veteran, let him do all the talking at social gatherings. There will never be a dull moment. Tessa from Phoenix. Oh my gosh, Tessa. Your nephew is cool. Oh, that is crazy. I love stories like that, though. Like, reincarnation stories fascinate me. They fascinate me. I really believe in reincarnation. Totally. I believe in it with animals. I believe in it with people. Absolutely. Stories like that are so cool. All right, let's get to the next one. Here we go. This one subject line is Black Friday at Eastern State Penitentiary. Ooh. All right. A little ghost hunt, maybe? It goes, "Hey, hey, Tay Tay." My name is Tegan, and I have been wanting to tell this story to anyone who breathes for a while now. So here you go. Oh, and I like your podcast. Thanks for giving me spooky bedtime stories. Yes, I listen to you when I go to sleep. Don't make it weird. Now, let me tell you about my weird family. My family has a tradition. Instead of shopping on Black Friday, we go ghost hunting. Your family sounds so cool. Can I join your family? Can I be a part? Can you guys be like my second family and then we can all go ghost hunting together on Black Friday? I would so much rather do that than deal with disgusting, greedy people. Absolutely. It started as a joke a few years ago. My mom saw a commercial for Black Friday sale and said, "People will line up at 4 a.m. for a blender, but won't stand in the cold to see a ghost. Cowards." My brother, who's an agent of chaos, replied, "So, ghost hunt instead of shopping?" half joking, half serious. And that was it. A tradition was born. So now, instead of fighting for parking at the mall, we're the idiots signing waivers and walking around old haunted places in the dark with flashlights and too much confidence. Last year was the big one, Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia. We'd all heard the stories, the hauntings, the history, the crumbling stone corridors where time feels stuck. And someone, I'm 90% sure it was my aunt after her second glass of wine, said, "Let's do Eastern State on Black Friday this year. It's better than celebrating capitalism." She wasn't wrong. No, she's not wrong. She's right on the money, actually. We booked a tour, the kind that's part history lesson, part maybe you'll get traumatized if you're lucky. Those are the best kind. They're all pretty much self guided, which is sort of nice if there are other people, but this day was pretty fucking empty and very spooky. We drove in the day after Thanksgiving. The sky already turning steel wool gray that makes everything look colder. The prison loomed up like a stone skeleton. You can feel Eastern State before you even get out of the car. It's like the building has opinions. My sister looked up at the looming walls and said, "Were we not just eating pie yesterday? How did we end up in Silent Hill?" My mom adjusted her scarf, shrugged, and said, "At least it'll be less crowded than Target." Walking toward the entrance, you can see why Eastern State Penn was considered state of the art when it opened in the 1800s. And also why people say it's so haunted now. Cold stone, narrow slits for windows, heavy iron gates that look like they've seen things and would like to never see them again. Inside, the air changed. It's hard to explain unless you've been in an old prison or asylum. It's not just cold, it's heavy, like the building remembers every sound that's ever bounced off the walls and is still holding on to them. We checked in. The staff gave us the usual spiel about not wandering off and disrespecting the spirits. Very comforting. Once we were inside and walking around, my dad stopped and immediately said, "We need to see cell block 12." Apparently, cell block 12 is the most haunted spot in the entire prison. So clearly, we needed to go there. And just so you're aware, the prison grows colder the higher you go. This adds to the creepy factor. By the time we reached the stairs up to cell block 12, my fingers were numb, even inside my gloves. We were about halfway down the corridor when it happened. The air that had already been cold turned freezing. Not a gentle, "oh, I should have brought a better jacket" kind of cold, a sharp, biting cold that cut through layers and went straight to the bone. I watched my breath stop being just a faint puff and turn into full on movie level clouds. I heard my sister swear under her breath and saw her pull her scarf tighter. It was more than temperature, though. The whole feeling of the place changed. My stomach dropped and my ears rang a little, the same way they do when you're in an airplane and the altitude changes. Then my brother stopped walking. Uh, guys, he said, his voice quieter now. He was pointing to the far end of the corridor. I followed his gaze. At first, I thought it was a trick of the dim light, a shadow or a weird reflection. But then, it stepped out of a cell. A man, wearing what looked like the tattered remains of an old-style prison uniform. He stood in the center of the corridor, a little ways from the last few cells. His head was bowed, shoulders hunched like he was freezing. My aunt whispered, "Oh, that's an actor, right?" "Tell me that's an actor." The man looked up. What I saw did not look like makeup. His skin looked too gray. There wasn't enough circulation in it. His cheeks were hollow, his eyes were deep set and shadowed, but there was something desperately aware in them, like he was as surprised to see us as we were to see him. He opened his mouth. No sound came out at first, just a dry, scraping rasp, like someone trying to talk after not speaking for decades. Then we heard it. Still here. Barely audible, but it was there. My sister grabbed my arm so tight her nails dug in. For a few seconds, no one moved. You could feel the whole group teetering on the brink. He looked back at us. His eyes were sad and tired, bone deep tired. Then he took one small step backward, another, and another. He didn't just turn around. He sort of retreated. One blink, and he was there. The next blink, he was gone. But the cold lingered. No one said anything for a solid minute after this. We just stood there, listening to the distant hum of the building and the pounding of our own hearts. Then my aunt whispered, I don't want to be here anymore. My dad called her a pansy. Brothers, am I right? And he chuckled and said, Fine, we'll go. But that was incredible. I mean, your dad's right. That is pretty incredible. You guys just saw a ghost at Eastern State. That's insane. We backed away, not turning our backs on that end of the corridor until we absolutely had to. I kept expecting him to reappear, closer this time, angry that we were leaving, demanding something. But he didn't. I felt like he'd accomplished what he wanted. He'd been seen. As we descended the stairs, the temperature gradually returned to unpleasantly cold instead of haunted freezer of despair. My breathing evened out. My hands stopped shaking as much. The rest of the tour, honestly, a blur. I know we saw Al Capone's cell and some other notable spots, but my mind was stuck on that man, that gray, hollow face. We still do our weird little ghost hunting tradition, but Eastern State became kind of the gold standard, the one we all compare other places to. We've had EVPs in cold spots and weird knocks in old hotels, but nothing has matched the sheer clarity of that moment in cell block 12. A tall, thin man stepping out of the shadows, his presence heavy and sad, pointing toward a cell like he was still trapped in a memory of how he died. When my brother and I talk about Eastern State now, we always come back to the same thing. He didn't feel like a monster. He felt stuck, confused, lonely. I don't know if he even knows he's dead, my brother said once. I don't know either. But if he does, and he's still up there pacing those long, crumbling hallways, at least now he knows for one Black Friday night, a random family saw him, heard him, and went home and still think about him to this day. We still don't go to Target for Black Friday, and I don't think we ever will. Tegan from Philly. Tegan, your family is so cool that you ghost hunt on Black Friday instead of going shopping. I agree, and I'm in. I'll go with you guys. Oh, that was an amazing story, too. You guys always just write in the best stories. Also, did I ask for Thanksgiving stories? Did I? I don't remember asking for Thanksgiving stories. I did type Thanksgiving into the search bar, like when I was looking for stories that were sent in, and I found some. So I chose them, but I was like, oh, let's see if there are any. And I don't remember if I asked for Thanksgiving stories, but you guys sent them in. And thank you for doing that because these are so good. Okay, this is the last one. Is that 4, 5? I don't know. I've lost count. This subject line is past the stuffing and the murder confession. Taylor, you asked for stories. Here's a bonkers story for you. Bonkers doesn't seem like the right word. Fucking unhinged may be better. Anyways, I love your content. I found you on TikTok a few months ago and you seem hella cool. I really like the Adrienne Reynolds story. Not that I liked what happened to that poor girl, but the way you covered it was respectful of her memory and kept me on the edge of my seat. Well, you're welcome. And thank you. That was a really difficult story to do. Very, very sad, but I'm glad I could do it some justice. Thank you. Then she goes, okay, now my turn. And it may just keep you on the edge of your seat. Hold on to those butt cheeks, darling. My family is an oversharing shit show. Oh, I'm ready. Butt cheeks are held. Here we go. Thanksgiving in my family has always been chaos, but not in the way other families unhinge. No, we're different. We don't yell. We don't fist fight. Nobody throws cranberry sauce. Nothing dramatic like the families you hear about in therapy podcasts. But we overshare. Not normal oversharers like my thong is riding up my ass. Oh, not normal oversharers. No, my family likes to drop conversational bombs so powerful they change the air pressure in the room. But even with that history, even knowing how deeply unhinged our table talk can get, no one was prepared for the year Uncle Ray found out that his own brother committed a murder. And the best part? The reveal was accidental. and it happened while passing the stuffing. First off, understand that Uncle Ray and his brother, the murderer, are 17 years apart. He was a surprise, and his brother passed away when he was young. I want to say around 9, so he really didn't know his brother at all. He used to regret this, and it made him sad. Now, I don't think he feels the same. Probably not. Thanksgiving started the way it always does. Mom hovering over the turkey, asking if it looked salmonella ish. Kids screaming because someone touched someone's elbow. My sister's dog strategically placing himself under the table like a furry Roomba. And my aunt announcing, I'm doing low carb this year, and then eating 3 rolls before dinner. Everyone had their assigned seats. I don't know why my family does this, but they do. Uncle Ray sat next to me. He's one of those unproblematic, steady, kind hearted guys, the human equivalent of a slow cooker. Warm, dependable, a little oblivious. The man once asked if Venmo was the app that kids use for romance. Bless you, Ray. Now, we've all heard hundreds of stories over the years about his brothers. He had other siblings when his mom remarried and enjoyed his step siblings a lot. And he enjoyed his step siblings a lot. They were pretty close, actually, and he had 4 of them, so we loved to hear about their antics. But we never really heard about Gerald, his biological brother who had passed away. We always assumed it was just a difficult topic, but for a family that overshares a ton, it was still weird that no one had ever brought him up. And now we know why. My cousin Tyler started it. He mentioned something about a true crime podcast he'd been listening to. It was a cold case based out of Oklahoma. Totally normal Thanksgiving combo at our house, by the way. I like your Thanksgiving combos. My mistake was turning to my great aunt Elaine, who's older than sin, sharper than the IRS audit, and prone to casual revelations that she thinks everyone already knows. No one knows, Elaine. Only you know. I said, that sounds like Uncle Ray's home state. Ray, do you know anything about this one? And Elaine said, without looking up from her plate, oh, yeah, your Uncle Gerald killed a guy in the 80s. Unprompted. I wasn't even talking to her. She just blurted it out like word vomit. It's like she couldn't hold it in anymore. Or the 6 glasses of wine had taken over. Probably that one. But she stated this so flippantly, like she was commenting on the weather. Forks froze halfway to mouths. Someone gasped. My sister dropped a roll. Grandma whispered, oh, hell. Ray blinked at her, confused. What did you say? Gerald, your brother. He killed that man. What's his name? Back in 84 or 85? Ray's face did something I'd never seen before. It tried to smile and process and panic all at once. His lips twitched like he was trying to reboot his personality. I'm sorry, he said. My brother, what? Elaine sighed heavily, like she was bored. Oh, Raymond, I thought you knew. Knew what? He asked, voice climbing an octave. That Gerald killed his coworker. It was a whole thing. They argued at the factory, something about overtime. Gerald hit him hard with a wrench. At this point, eyeballs were bulging. My sister choked on her own spit, and we all sat in awe. At Thanksgiving, nonetheless, while children were eating rolls shaped like turkeys. That's fancy. Okay. Everyone started talking at once. Are we sure? Is this hearsay? What factory? How did no one mention this? Is this the same Gerald who mailed Ray a harmonica that one year? Are we in danger? To which my grandma said, no, dumbass, he's dead. Oh, God. Oh, your grandma's keeping it real. Meanwhile, Uncle Ray looked like someone had unplugged him. He ran a hand over his forehead. Elaine, are you saying my brother is a murderer? Elaine shrugged. Was. It was decades ago. It's fine now. It's not fine, Elaine. What? She's all, it's fine. All right, Elaine. We all stared at her, forks suspended in front of us like confused little metal question marks. Explain, Grandma demanded, because she's the only one who can make Elaine talk like a normal person. And so Elaine explained, in pieces, chaotically, incorrectly and incoherently because, again, the wine. But from what I gathered, apparently, Gerald had gotten into a nasty altercation with a coworker back in the early 80s. Something about stolen tools, something about overtime, something about a loan not being paid back. Nobody knows the details because this entire story was never shared for nearly 40 years. At the factory, the argument escalated. Gerald allegedly swung a wrench hard. The coworker died, and instead of being arrested, Gerald fled the state for months. Rumor was that he stayed with a distant cousin in New Mexico. Eventually, he was caught because he left the wrench there. Oh my God, he left the wrench there. And Elaine mentioned he was not the brightest bulb in the tanning bed. That's mean. Well, I guess he's a murderer, so, I'll let her say what she wants. Is this her son? I need to know. Is this her son? Is Ray her son and this is her son? I need to know these things. But it's your great aunt, right? So maybe not. Oh my God. This is crazy. He served a short sentence because the case was murky, something about lack of witnesses and Gerald claiming it was self-defense. But family members, they considered him hot-headed and never spoke of it again until that day at Thanksgiving. They never mentioned it once to his siblings, not to anyone who married into the family. No one, not even poor Uncle Ray. Gerald passed away in a car accident at only about 26 or maybe 27. I really can't be sure. My family is good at oversharing, but math is not our strong suit. I do know that this was after his short time in prison because it does not take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. Ray was shocked and for a while speechless. He finally said, "Oh my God, my brother's a killer." Elaine, still eating, said, "Oh, sweetheart, people did all sorts of things in the 80s. Don't take it personally." Don't take it personally. Um, I mean, it's a little personal. A little personal, Elaine. My mom then said, "Well, that's a lovely story. Who would like some mashed potatoes?" And dinner proceeded. Sort of. Everyone was shaken until Tyler said, "Can you pass me the carving knife?" And Ray said, "I'm sure Gerald would." Oh my God. But I guess he prefers wrenches. Oh, is Ray trying to cope with humor? Poor guy. Oh, we snickered nervously. He seemed very, very not okay. At one point, Ray excused himself to get some air, which meant standing on the porch questioning his entire bloodline. Oh, I feel so bad for your uncle. Oh my gosh. Once the dishes were cleared and the kids were running wild, the adults gathered in the living room for the traditional Thanksgiving postmortem. Ray sat in an armchair looking stunned, clutching a piece of pumpkin pie like it was a flotation device. From that Thanksgiving onward, we added a new rule to our holiday gatherings. Right between no politics and don't let the dog eat chocolate was no casual murder revelations at the dinner table. I don't think other families have this rule. Happy Thanksgiving. May your holidays be filled with stuffing, green bean casserole, and pie, not family murder confessions. Lyndon from Ohio. That was quite a story. Oh my God. Your poor uncle. And Elaine, what is she okay? She's so flippant about it. She's like, it was a whole thing. Yeah, I'd say so, Elaine. Oh my goodness. Well, you guys did it again. You knocked these out of the park. That was the last story. Holy crap. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for sending in your stories. Thank you for sharing all of these moments with me and with our listeners. And thanks for allowing me to use your name. Everyone in these stories said that I could. The one about Jackson, the nephew, it looked like I didn't mention this, but all the names had been changed. So she did not use her nephew's real name. But that was a cool story. That was pretty crazy. Reincarnation. I hope that I get reincarnated. Uh, well, that's all I have for you guys today. If you guys have any stories to tell, send them my way. I can't wait to read them and share them with the listeners. And I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving because when you listen to this, it will have already passed. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope no one dropped any murder bombs at the table. And if they did, you can tell me about it. You can just write into me and be like, "Hey, you'll never guess what fucking happened at the dinner table." And then I will read it on the podcast for you if you want. Totally up to you. But that's all. That's all I got for you. So be good humans, look out for each other, and as always, remember to trust your lizard brain. Until next time, goodbye.